You are now listening to Playbook Radio. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
And welcome to Playbook Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. All the links to the podcast can be found at gameplanplaybook.com. That's gameplanplaybook.com. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is what happens when you don't have a schedule written out for the day. A lot of people use things like Outlook or Google Calendar or use these things to keep themselves organized. But when it comes to creating a schedule or an itinerary for your day, a lot of people don't go through the trouble because they feel like I'm busy as it is, or I'm too busy, and that's just one more thing for me to do that I don't have time to do. But I wanted to share some insight as to why you might feel like it's worth the investment to create a schedule. So a long time ago, I knew a person who her father would create a schedule, would create an itinerary for their family vacations. So when they went on these vacations, he would print out an itinerary for him and their 4 kids and his wife, because it was just a lot to get everybody, on time and everything else. So he would create an itinerary. This is when we're getting up. This is when we're leaving. This is when we're doing all the stuff. And even throughout the trip, everything was scheduled. Everything was planned out. And they always had great vacations. And, the first time I heard that, I said, that's a little bit extreme, right, to do. But it made a lot of sense. And I slowly adopted it in my life, in my personal life, as far as, having a schedule, because I know the flip side of not having a schedule. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, is what happens when you don't have a schedule. When you don't have a schedule, the first thing is that, you're very scattered. Okay. And the more creative you are, if you have any type of, disorder that is, causing you not to be able to focus, whether it's ADHD or you're on the autism spectrum or something like that, you can get very scattered very easily, right? And what happens with a lot of people is that, we live in a culture where we have a ton of distractions. We have a ton of things that are pulling out our attention. If you don't have a schedule, if you don't have a way to keep your time in line with what you need to do every single day, an entire day will go by and you'll get half of one thing done. So the first thing is a feeling of scatteredness. The second thing, and which leads into what I just said, is a lack of productivity. Okay. And if you're at a job or you're expected to be productive, you're paid to be productive, right? Your salary, your employment is hinging on your level of productivity. If you're not productive, that can put you in danger of not having that job. So it's very important that you are productive on a daily basis, right? But when you don't have a schedule, when you don't have things lined up as to this is when this is going to happen, I'm going to send this email between 3 and 3:30. I'm going to do this particular task between 4 and 4:30. When that is not written out on paper, what happens is that the mind starts to do what it does. The mind is only creative. So the mind starts doing all types of creative things, and you'll end up doing everything but what you're supposed to do, right? And when we're being productive, we don't need our mind to be creative in that moment. We need our mind to do what we're asking it to do. So it's very important that you have a schedule to keep you on track, to keep you more productive. And then the third thing is that the schedule acts as an anchor, right? So the schedule is a way for when you do get off track. And sometimes it's your fault because, you're being distracted by any and everything. Sometimes it's not your fault because, again, you might have a diagnosis of something that is causing you to not focus in the way that you need to. And then you may have distractions. You may have people coming in, whether you're working from home, your family coming in, asking you a million questions. You may have, distractions in your office where people, and I certainly went through it when I worked in an office where people would stop by and want to talk for a half hour or an hour. And it's like, hey, we're here to work. I really don't have time to have this whole long drawn out conversation with you. But, sometimes these distractions can't be controlled, but the schedule acts as an anchor, just like a ship. If a ship starts to drift away from shore or away from its dock, that anchor holds it down so it doesn't drift off into the ocean or drift off into the sea. It anchors it down. In the same way, that schedule acts as an anchor, and it will anchor you back to what you need to be doing. Even yesterday, I got off track because of some of the things that I just listed. And that schedule, when I looked at that schedule, it brought me back. And I was able to finish 95% of what I set out to do yesterday. And I have a very demanding job, a very busy job with a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that I'm in charge of managing. And so I was still able to do all those things because that schedule acted, like I said, as an anchor. So consider these things when, you start thinking about whether a schedule is right for you. Consider, these things that I just listed, and, you may be able to add even more things to that list, but definitely want to consider creating a schedule for your business, for your work, for your life every single day. So thank you so much for listening. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Playbook Radio. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast with family and friends. And if you're ready to take the next step in your personal development journey, consider trying Mental Recoding by Playbook Strategies. These short audios are designed to help you reprogram your thoughts around different life subjects, such as finances, health, work, relationships, and much more. Click the link below to explore mental recoding products to help reshape your mind.